Welcome to My Favorite Bitch, where we talk openly about the good, the bad, and the oh my fucking god ugly of raising dogs, and sometimes other non-canine pets, including the human ones. We might talk about poop, and we might swear, so fair warning. Thanks for joining the pack. Now let's get this ball rolling. For a game of fetch, of course. Hey everybody, welcome to My Favorite Bitch, the pet podcast where we talk about the good, the bad, and the are you fucking kidding me ugly of raising dogs and other non-human pets, sometimes spouses. So how's everybody doing? I hope you're doing great here on this. It's a spring day as I record this. Spring, late April, and our pool is already open here in Virginia. Not that we can swim in it, but for some reason they just opened it early. And hey, I'm not complaining, but boy, I will tell you, thank God we put a fence around it because Labrador retrievers and water. 10 seconds after we got it in, she was paused in front of the fence, looking out over the water, pondering, how could I get in there? How could I get in there and jump in that water? Because I've never known a Labrador retriever or any retriever who hasn't beelined for water. If you have one, let me know because it's probably a genetic freak. Moxie, my little silver lab, loves water, loves rain. I mean, when it rains, the water streams down the road, and she is very much triggered by that. Snow, cold, but not a big fan of the sun. So I don't know. I hope that the pool will be helpful in getting her more acquainted with warm weather. She's kind of like her mommy in that way. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about what it was like to bring home a new puppy at in my middle ages, in my glory years. So I see a lot of people on the groups that I follow it on Facebook or even in my network of family and friends talking about their struggles with a puppy. And maybe you are in that world right now. Maybe you've just brought a puppy home. You've got a new puppy and you're just struggling with thinking that you're doing things the right way, that you're prepared, but feeling wholly unprepared. If so, this may be very helpful for you because this is not going to be a resounding success story. So you may find some you may relate to this very well if you have ever brought home a new puppy and felt like you just didn't know what the fuck you were doing. So at least you'll know it's not you. So when we brought Miss Moxie home, she was just a little under 8 weeks old. And I thought I was very, very well prepared. Spoiler alert, I was wholly unprepared in many levels. But I thought I was prepared. I had done a lot of research. I mean, I didn't kid myself. It had been about 15 years since the last time that I raised puppies. So I wasn't, I'm not stupid. I know that I've forgotten a lot and a lot has changed. A lot of new things have come out and, you never know with training and stuff. So I did a lot of research. I bought a lot of books, read some books, watched a shit ton of videos. I had my list of what the essentials that you need to bring home when you first get a puppy, cross-referenced with about 100 different sites that have their top 10 list, right? So I did a little research on that too. So I had my list of essentials. I had my crates, 2 crates, the right kind of crate, and I'd used crates before, so I was familiar. The kind that you can make them smaller because you're supposed to limit their space. I had the right food from our breeder. I puppy-proofed the house. I subscribed to dog trainers on YouTube and dog experts and veterinarians. And so I was watching a lot of their material, subscribing to dog accounts on social media. And I was preparing myself mentally because the last time that I raised a puppy, I worked outside of the house. I reported to an office. Now I work from home. So I just was trying to prepare myself. And truthfully, I thought it would be a lot easier because here I am able to take her out to go potty whenever. I had raised 2 dogs since since they were young puppies, one from 8 weeks and the other from 4 months. And we had raised those for 13 years. So, I have some background. My family had dogs growing up. And those were not perfect dogs. I will not kid you, but they were pretty close. My Ripley was pretty close to perfect. She was a little bit of a food whore and a little bit needy, but it's just still near perfect. And Sammy was our pit bull shepherd. And yes, he was a little aloof. And in his later years, he at one point had to wear a muzzle at daycare, but he was a sweetheart. So they weren't perfect, but they were pretty darn good. And I thought I did a pretty darn good job of raising them and training them. In fact, I remember one time I was having a big gathering at my house, and my kitchen was on one side of the house and the living room was all the way on the other side of the house. It was very compartmentalized, and there was a long hallway. And in the kitchen, all of the buffet was set up, all the food for this holiday party that I was having. I have a big family. And so I had probably 30, 35 people over, and we were all in the living room. And my brother's then girlfriend came down the hallway into the living room from the kitchen. She stopped me because I was heading towards the kitchen. And she said, "How is it that your dogs are not jumping up on the counter?" And I'm like, "Because I am a fucking dog mom superhero. That's why." No, I mean, it's just training because they weren't allowed. Right. So I thought, I got this new puppy now. Plus I live for challenges. I work in corporate. I've been 22 years in the corporate world. I plan, I organize, I eat leadership challenges for lunch. So being the pack leader, no problem. I make order out of chaos. That's what I do in the corporate world, 8 hours a day. So to me, this was no different. This was like a project. So I had a plan. I had rules for the puppy. I had rules for the husband. I had a whiteboard. Who has a whiteboard when they're raising a puppy? Me. That's who has a whiteboard. So I thought it was so well prepared. How could I have been more prepared? So when my husband Sean and I started having conversations about maybe getting a dog again, because we lost our two dogs during the pandemic, there was no question in my mind that we would get a Labrador retriever. Labradors are and golden retrievers. I kind of lump retrievers together. Golden retrievers are really just long-haired labs. They're perfect dogs in many ways, and they're number one consistently year after year for a reason, right? So we wanted a Labrador. We'd had a Labrador before. We loved her. So I started researching and following breeders and lab rescue sites, general rescue sites on Facebook and their websites. And I really wanted a puppy. Why did I want a puppy? Well, before we got too old, I wanted to have a puppy again. And with puppies, there are pros and cons of getting a puppy versus an adult dog. And the pros are you get to mold them. You don't get any baggage. If there's baggage ever, it's your own fault, but they're like a fresh slate. And I know this is not true of every dog, and I'm certainly not suggesting that, but that was sort of true with our previous dogs. Our lab that we got for very young as a puppy, we were able to mold her a little bit more than we were our other dog, our rescue, who we got when he was a little bit older. So just, background. So I followed all of these sites. Some of them were rescue sites. Some of them were breeders, well-researched breeders. And we're not going to get into the shop versus adopt here, but we will in another episode. But I followed a lot of these sites for months and months. And it went on this long, partly because we just weren't ready. We wanted to make sure we were really ready. I mean, it was a lot of grief when we lost our first two dogs. And partly because there just weren't a lot of puppies out there, lab puppies for rescue. I shouldn't say not even lots of puppies, some puppies, but not Labradors. So we eventually finally just made this decision. We were ready. So we're going to do it. And it just so happened that one of the breeders that I was following that I really liked a lot had a litter of silver Labradors. We weren't looking for a silver in particular, but she happened to have one and the timing was right. The stars aligned. So we decided to just go for it. Now, When you get a puppy from a reputable breeder, how it usually goes is you put a down payment and you get whatever pick is the order of your down payment. So it's a first come, first served kind of a thing. We wanted a female, and there were 5 females in this litter. And by the time we actually made the decision, there were 4 of them had already been taken. So we were the 5th out of 5. So basically sloppy seconds. So in the weeks leading up to our pickup, the breeder would send periodically pictures and videos of all of the puppies. And we got several of them that had all of the girls, the five girls. And they were little collars that have they name them based on the color of their collars. So we thought, based on the videos, and just, you kind of speculate, kind of when you buy a lottery ticket, you just think about what it's going to be like. We speculated that we would get Miss Lemon. Why? Miss Lemon was very subdued, submissive, docile. I figured pink and purple would be the first to go. Why? Because I don't know if there's any little girls involved in the selection before us, they're going to pick pink and purple. That's just how it goes. Maybe even blue. And then in one of the videos, Miss Blue she's kind of a little bit of a bully. She did this sort of Macho Man Randy Savage move where she kind of pummeled on pink and purple, and pink and purple held their own. They were very confident dogs, but green and lemon were kind of cowering in the corner. So we just figured by the time we get there, we're going to get lemon. We're going to get the one that's just the little fraidy cat. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. So the ones that are going to be like, yeah, pick me, that's going to be pink, purple, and blue. So maybe we'd get green, but probably yellow. Oh no. We got the bully. We got Miss Blue. So, yeah, we the professional wrestler dog. We renamed her Moxie Blue Yule because she was born on Christmas Day, 2021. And she also answers to Peanut, Sweet Pea, Baby Girl, Tank, and Bull in a China Shop. So, because I'm kidding about the last one, but she is a bull in a China shop. So, to say that I was unprepared for all of the things that come with puppiness, like things like jumping, biting, the things that were kind of a clue when we look back on those videos, nipping, alligator rolls. To say I was unprepared for those is a gross understatement. It's probably like childbirth. You just kind of forget what it's like. And it was a blur. The last time I raised puppies, I really didn't remember a whole lot of what I did. As I'm raising Moxie and spending more time with her, it's coming back to me. I'm remembering things, but I just didn't, it was just kind of like, I don't know, I just put it out of my mind. The only things that I really remembered when we got Moxie, the only things I remembered about my previous pups were one time Ripley, our lab, taking a chunk out of my jeans, my brand new fucking jeans, walking down the hall because she was in one of her bitey, I don't know, overtired modes. And I remember trying to do like the Caesar Milan death grip on Sammy at one point, probably unnecessarily, but otherwise I blanked most of it out. So I thought I was prepared for like the basics, like potty training, crate training. So potty training is the very first thing that you think about when you get a puppy, right? And those of you out there who have raised a puppy, you'll find this hilarious. I actually thought I was going to have 0 accidents, 0. That was my goal. Like, I'm going to be like one of those super moms. I'm going to have 0 accidents. We had about 2 per day for the first week and continued occasionally after that. The thing about potty training is so a lot of trainers will tell you, and one of the main trainers that I follow was very repetitive about, you have to take your dog out 10 to 15 minutes after eating. People don't listen to them. They are liars and the voices of Satan. Here's the truth. If you take your dog out 10 to 15 minutes after eating, you'll have accidents. Like this one time, I scooped Moxie up literally 30 seconds after she got done with her breakfast. And then later I found a hard turd in the pocket of my new LL Bean flannel robe. No joke. But if you take them out immediately, if you don't wait the 10 to 15 minutes, you take them out immediately because you don't want a turd in your pocket. You'll go out and they will spend, I don't know, 45 minutes just sniffing around every blade of grass, every squirrel pellet, every goddamn scrap of paper, even their own pee, whatever it is, piece of fuzz. They'll just sniff all that shit for 45 minutes and they'll never empty their bladder until you get just inside your door back in the house. And then they'll find the rug that's kind of like grass and boom, there they go. So you can't win. You can't win, right? If I had known this, I think I would have been better prepared. So my advice, by the way, is to do both. Take them out immediately and then take them out again 10 to 15 minutes later, because one or the other is going to work for you. But whatever the one you think is going to happen is going to be the opposite. And by the way, you can expect your first, I don't know, week or two to be basically about 100 trips to the potty, to go out for potty breaks every day. If you work at home like myself, or if you are a stay-at-home, which I guess is the same thing as working from home, if you're a stay-at-home parent or spouse. So we also brought Moxie home in a blizzard, or just after a blizzard. So we had sleet, snow, rain. We almost didn't pick her up because the weather was so bad. I was in contact with the breeder saying, maybe we might not make it. Fortunately, it did clear up enough that we could make the hour drive, but then we bring her home, and I cannot express to you how glorious it is to take a young puppy who has just been ripped from their only family that they have ever known. So they're basically like young toddlers. And you have to take that puppy out in the middle of the night after a snowstorm. It's sub-zero temps, or at least wind chills, to go pee. Yeah, it's a really wonderful experience. I can only equate it to like maybe even in college, if you had like a drunk roommate that you had to drag out or pull over to like to the shrubbery to puke or something. It's just that, like, you're tired and you're like, fuck. And it's just the most miserable thing ever, but you don't even care. You're like, who sees you? It's like, I don't care. I'm out here with a spotlight on my head and in my LL Bean turd filled robe. And I just don't even care. You're so miserable. You just don't even care. So that's, the potty training part. So then there's also the environment. So you're supposed to limit the space of your puppy, right? Because if you limit the space, they won't pee, allegedly, also another lie. They won't pee or poop in the space where they're confined. And you feed them there too, because they're not supposed to pee or poop where they eat. Also another lie. So we had a crate in the bedroom for night, and then we had one in the living room for day. And in the office, I had a playpen. I bought a little dog fence from Amazon. It's basically, it's amazing what I've got set up in here. I've got, I don't know, chicken wire, carabiners, rope, all kinds of stuff around my desk so that she can't get into the little crevices. So we have a crate in the bedroom, crate in the living room. The playpen is my office, or is in my office, right? She hated the crate in the living room. She took the one in the bedroom pretty quickly. There were a few nights where she whined, but she didn't like the one in the living room where we would leave her during the day, when she's supposed to be in there when she napped, when we went out on the weekend. She would just go into an utter panic. So the whole time we were gone, she would just be yelping and panicky. So we quickly abandoned that $50 purchase. It's still there, but it's just basically a play structure for her now. And we ended up putting her in the bedroom crate when we go out, like on weekends and stuff, and she takes to that a lot better. But the office, I had a pen, and initially it was just this Amazon purchased 15-foot pen that you can put into kind of a square shape or an octagonal shape. But all I'm going to say is try having a puppy in a pen in your office and then trying to do work. Yeah, not happening. So I ended up putting the pen around my desk so that my desk was the office, because even though I was literally 2 feet away from her when she was in her pen, she would just bark and whine and cry for hours at a time, wanting to get to mommy. So I thought, okay, now you're with mommy. So I literally for a long time had the pen was my desk, around my desk. So if folks, you just got to do what works for you. So totally not prepared for the environment. Since gotten a lot better, we've opened up the environment, and she's doing really, really well, but it was hell for a while. Mentally, how was I prepared? I was not prepared mentally. I thought I was, but I was not. I've been through this before. Of course I am. I thought having a puppy working from home in a home office would be easier than it was when I went to work. No, not at all. Way harder. The first 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks was basically a blur of potty breaks. Again, like you're going out probably, I felt like 100 times a day. And then, you're trying to tire her out, but you don't want to get her too tired because then she gets cranky, and then you got to try to get her to nap. And then there's more potty, and then there's more play and more potty. And then you got to clean up, and sometimes clean up shit, and sometimes pull a turd out of your pocket. All of this time I'm trying to navigate my actual day job. And it was absolutely pure hell. I fluctuated between that good puppy feeling, the hole in my heart being filled, that loneliness going away, and complete and utter depression. I mean, meltdowns, wondering what the fuck I did. And honestly, sometimes she would just get so fucking cranky, I wanted to throw her in front of a big truck, which I would never do. So please don't send me hate mail. I would never do that ever. I had a sense of self-failure. I'm successful. I have a successful career. I have another podcast other than this one. I wrote a book. I'm very successful in some ways. Why can't I do this? I'm a type A. I'm supposed to be able to control everything. And I was completely lacking control in everything. I was not prepared to have this unbridled fucking canine bronco tearing through my house, peeing, knocking shit over, zoomies. I literally had no hope for probably 3 weeks. I thought I was going to be trapped. I felt trapped. I thought I was going to be trapped with this beast for like the next 14 or 15 years. For those of you who are listening to this, if you're going through this and you're thinking, fuck, that's me. That's totally me. I am lost. I am drowning. I have no hope. Just know this. It does get better, and it gets better very quickly. I'm recording this right now. Moxie is just 18 weeks old, so just a little over 4 months old. She is virtually potty trained. She sleeps through the night. She's still a tank, bull in a china shop, but we're working on that, and we're walking, right? We're walking in our neighborhood. We've increased her environment in the house, like I said, so she's not just confined to my office, which thank God. I got some cameras set up so I can kind of monitor her. And again, this is what works for me. It may not be what works for you. Some people are like diehard crate people. That's cool. I'm just telling you my experience right now. She's now fully vaccinated. She's meeting other dogs. I don't have to have her literally under my feet every single moment. It is infinitely better now. And I can actually envision a life with an adult dog, similar to what I had with my other pets that I just forgot how I got there, right? That feeling, that wonderful feeling when you finally have a pet who's well-behaved and settled, and you can enjoy life with them. So I'll tell you briefly what helped me the most. The first thing is hearing other people talk about their experiences, that they were going through the same thing, trying things that the experts were telling them they weren't working, getting the puppy blues. I mean, what the fuck? That helped me because it made me feel like, okay, it's not just me. I am going through what a lot of people go through. A lot of people, a lot more people than I ever thought would go through. The second thing that helped me a lot was getting my dog on a very rigid schedule and logging it, right? So I knew I needed to be on a schedule. I wasn't great about that for the first few weeks. It got horrible. So I had to pull back and tighten it up. And I really got to a much more rigid schedule. And I logged every action. I had a little notebook next to my desk. I logged when she got up, when she pooped, when she peed, when she napped. How long did she nap? When did she eat? How much did she eat? And I wasn't getting like to the gnat's ass. I wasn't like weighing her food or anything, but I would, just generally like, did she eat half of it? What kind of other treats did we have during the day? How did she play? What did she like? When we started actually walking, because it took a while to get to that point, how long are we walking? I still log that. What she liked, what she didn't like, when she was cranky, what triggered her. It's amazing how much information you get and how much you learn about your pet when you get them on a schedule and you keep a diary or a log. And you can go back and refer to that. You can, if you forget something, you can go back and refer to it. You start to identify their habits. It helps you remember what you did or didn't do and what worked and what didn't work. That was a godsend, really a godsend, not just the schedule, but actually logging everything that she did. The other thing that helped was listening to a lot of experts, because there's a lot of great information out there, but doing what worked for me. So the trainers and the experts that I followed, and I still do follow them and I love them, they were lifesavers. There's so much great information and expertise, but not everything worked. I would follow a trainer who was diehard. When they nap, they're in a crate. And Moxie, I tried that and she didn't, and she doesn't nap in a crate when I'm home. My office was the crate and the playpen, and now she's expanded a little bit into the rest of the house. Potty schedules, like I mentioned before, take them out after 10 or 15 minutes. Well, when I did that, I would inevitably have an accident. So you have to figure out what your dog's schedule is. And that's why logging is so important. I can tell you now, pretty precisely what my dog's pee and poop habits are. Certainly the poop habit. Things like mild correction, breaking her out of the zone when she's in the zone. It's very easy to teach a dog what you want it to do with reward and deflection. It's very hard to teach a dog what you don't want it to do with reward and deflection. So most of the trainers that I was following were very much 100% reward and deflection. I started following a few that were showing how to gently correct your dog instead of just being 100% reward, food whore, gold digger type of dog. So that was immensely helpful when I listened to the experts, but I was flexible enough to do what worked for me. And that's been a godsend. So that is my bringing home Moxie journey in a nutshell. So again, if you're out there, you're feeling completely unprepared for what you've done. You brought home this puppy, or maybe it's a dog, and you're just not where you thought you would be. Stay strong. You will get through it. I really thought, this is it. I'm going to be suffering for the next 14 years, and it's so much better now. You can do this. You're a badass. You got this, and you're not alone. Not 100%. So just know that you are not alone. All right, everybody. I really do thank you for joining me today and my story of my journey getting Moxie, joining the My Favorite Bitch pack. I do appreciate your checking in. Please reach out if I can help you in any way. I get it. I really do get it. And my contact information will be in the exit credits. So please reach out if there's anything I can help you with. Other than that, thank you again. Take it easy and go fetch. Thank you for joining My Favorite Bitch, where we don't hold back about what it's like to raise that little fucker of a pet. We hope you had fun. I'm your host, Beth Ann Campbell, and you can reach me on Instagram or Facebook as TheBean67. That's TheBeann 67. And also on Instagram as Moxie Blue Yule. That's my dog's site, she insisted. I'm also on LinkedIn as Beth Ann Campbell, that's Ann with an E, and check out my YouTube channel, Beth Ann Campbell, where you can find this podcast and other fun videos on the playlist My Favorite Bitch. Remember, we are not trained dog professionals in any way, so please consult the real experts and do your research on anything you hear on this program. We barely know what we're doing. Now go give your pet some snuggles, and we'll catch you after a good nap and some tasty treats. My My Favorite Bitch is produced by Beth Ann Campbell and is a product of Beth Ann Campbell, LLC. All rights reserved. Go fetch Moxie. Good girl.